People often say that there is one love in a lifetime that leaves the deepest mark. It is neither as blazing as midsummer fire, nor as decisive as late autumn falling leaves. It is like early spring weather, warm yet chilly, misty and uncertain, brightening momentarily before drizzling again. It makes you crave the faint light while trapping you in lingering cold gloom. I think my love with Zhang Jitao is exactly like this. It occupied my entire youth in my 20s. It was my reckless, sincere, and clumsy first love, the most burning obsession on my stumbling path of growth, and the tender yet regretful old dream that still tugs at my heart for years afterward. Looking back, I was sharp, arrogant, sensitive, and stubborn at 20. I was full of edges and corners, unwilling to yield or admit defeat. Though soft-hearted deep down, I always pretended to be cold, distant, and indifferent. I had no idea how to love, tolerate, or express care. I thought pure passion and persistent devotion could overcome all conflicts, emotional misalignment, and personality differences. I believed sincere love could lead us to the end. But the cruel truth of youthful love is this: with the purest hearts, we made the clumsiest mistakes, pushing the person we loved most away little by little. When I first met Zhang Jitao, winter was fading and spring had not yet fully arrived. The sky was gray and hazy, just like the beginning tone of our story. She was entirely different from me. I was unrestrained, outspoken, and emotionally transparent, while she was gentle, quiet, reserved, and disciplined. Like the softest wind of early spring, she was delicate, mild, and considerate, yet possessed invisible inner strength. Gentle but not weak, quiet but resolute, she treated the world with kindness and life with enthusiasm. I fell for her not out of momentary infatuation, but gradual, certain, and irreversible sinking. I was the one who took the initiative to approach her. With unreserved youthful fervor, I loved openly, frankly, and fearlessly, disregarding judgment, distance, and personality gaps. 20-year-old love was pure and uncalculating, craving nothing but the person in front of me. I naively believed that love could conquer all difficulties, smooth all edges, and resolve all misunderstandings. Yet love is never a one-sided rush. It requires communication, tolerance, softness, and compromise, things we were far too young to master. My sharpness and competitiveness were the biggest thorns in our relationship. I was too young, self-centered, and headstrong, always choosing confrontation over compromise. I cared deeply, worried constantly, and cherished fiercely, yet I never spoke gently. I turned concern into blame, longing into indifference, and reluctance into cold rejection. I once thought toughness equaled dignity and yielding equaled loss. Only years later did I realize that being stubborn in love is the most foolish defeat. Zhang Jitao tolerated me endlessly. She endured my sharpness, sensitivity, bad temper, and duplicity. In every quarrel and emotional standoff, she was always the first to fall silent, to yield and to digest grievance alone. I took her gentleness for granted, assuming her patience and tolerance were inexhaustible. I recklessly consumed her kindness, overdrawn her tenderness, and strained her emotions, hurting her soft heart with harsh words time and again, leaving her sad and healing alone through countless nights. I remember countless days and nights of emotional friction and entanglement. Though my heart ached with reluctance, my words remained unyielding. Though terrified of losing her, I pretended not to care. Though longing to embrace her, I turned away coldly. We were like two young beasts probing and wounding each other, loving, clinging, and yearning, yet also hurting, exhausting, and drifting. Our affection was real, our devotion genuine, yet our fatigue and disappointment were equally tangible. Youthful love is passionate yet fragile, sincere yet clumsy, pure yet messy. We were simply too young. I failed to understand her restraint, her quiet endurance, and her accumulated exhaustion beneath her peaceful surface. Gentle and easygoing as she seemed, she was extremely delicate and sensitive inside, swallowing all emotions and hiding all grievances silently. She never made a scene, never clung unreasonably, and never demanded preference. She only grew quieter, more distant and less expectant, little by little. By the time I finally woke up, her love had already been scarred and worn thin by countless disappointments. Our separation was never caused by a lack of love, betrayal, or a third party. It was the inevitable result of countless trivial disappointments piling up, endless ineffective communication, repeated emotional misalignment, clumsy verbal hurt, and an imbalanced relationship where she tolerated endlessly while I never yielded. Like two rain lines in early spring, we reached for each other yet remained separated by mist, unable to see each other's true hearts clearly until we drifted apart in that uncertain weather. I was stunned when we broke up. Trapped by youthful pride, I remained stubborn and unyielding, pretending freedom and indifference. I assumed we would reconcile as we always had after cold wars and conflicts. I thought she would never leave, that her love was unbreakable, and that my childish willfulness would always be forgiven. But this time, she was truly exhausted. She withdrew gently and peacefully, without hysteria or tears, quietly taking back all her preference and ending our grand yet clumsy youthful love. The real pain never arrived at the moment of separation. It settled slowly in the long years afterward. For a long time, I lived in delayed regret and prolonged self-healing. I re-examined our past bit by bit, seeing clearly my childishness, selfishness, paranoia, and clumsiness. I finally understood how gentle, sincere, and rare the person I had lost truly was. I heard the hidden grievances in her silence, saw the exhaustion beneath her tenderness, and realized the repeated letdowns she had endured alone. The deepest wounds never come from fierce quarrels, but from unresponded sincerity, unappreciated tenderness, and lonely self-healing time and again. I once blamed our incompatibility and shallow fate, but later understood that I simply did not know how to love, and I was the one who exhausted our years of affection. The years after separation were my longest period of growth and self-redemption. I gradually smoothed my sharp temper, learned to speak softly, tolerate, yield, and cherish. I shed youthful recklessness, smoothed my edges, restrained my stubborn pride, and grew into a calm, mature, and gentle adult. I finally learned how to love, communicate, and compromise in a relationship, but I learned it only after I had already lost the person who deserved it most. This is life's most regretful truth. In youthful ignorance, we meet the most precious person and love them clumsily, hurting and missing them. By the time we finally understand how to love tenderly and sincerely, time has passed and people have gone. I endured a long period of life without her. I walked the roads we once walked, listened to the songs we once loved, and witnessed the early spring mist, summer night breeze, autumn sunset, and winter snow we once watched together. Memories surged endlessly, bringing sour regret and heartache. Countless nights I recalled her gentle eyes, quiet demeanor, and endless tolerance, remembering how she loved me wholeheartedly and how I pushed her away repeatedly. I gradually realized that Zhang Jitao was never merely my first love or a passerby in my youth. She was the purest light in my 20s, the most profound lesson in my growth, and my most sincere and irreplaceable preference. She taught me tenderness, tolerance, and cherishment. She helped me shed my hostility, immaturity, and selfishness, shaping me into a fuller, kinder, and more loving person. All my growth and gentleness came from her, and all my lingering regret also belongs to her. Reunion after years apart is a belated gift from fate. When we met again, we had both outgrown youthful recklessness and paranoia. Tempered by time, we became steady, transparent, gentle, and assured. Seeing her again, my heart still stirred and sank for her without hesitation. My youthful, impulsive fondness had settled into mature, restrained, precious, and earnest, deep love. I was no longer the arrogant boy who masked vulnerability with sharpness. I learned to soften, take initiative, be honest, and protect with patience and tolerance. The entanglement after reunion was our belated adjustment and redemption. In our youth, we loved blindly and hurt each other unknowingly. As adults who have experienced parting and regret, we finally know how to love. I gradually made up for my youthful debts, smoothed old scars, and replaced past clumsy hurt with mature tenderness. I no longer confronted her stubbornly, no longer spoke against my heart, and no longer let her grieve and heal alone. I learned to communicate, compromise, favor, and reserve all my gentleness and patience solely for her. I finally understand that true love is never mutual consumption or repeated testing, but mutual healing, mutual fulfillment, and mutual nourishment. I once thought love was passionate pursuit and possession, but now I know love is forbearing tolerance, lasting patience, enduring companionship, and unwavering devotion after mistakes. I will spend the rest of my life making up for the grievances she once endured, filling the disappointments she once accumulated, and fulfilling the gentle completeness she once missed. I owe my youthful self an apology, my youthful love a firm preference, and our past a lifelong companionship. Time has been kind enough to let us reunite and fall in love again in the bright early spring. Many people question whether reunions after separation are worthwhile or truly complete. I believe our reunion is far more than mending a broken mirror. It is the second encounter of two mature souls after growth and parting, a steady and belated perfection. Immature youth could not treat each other gently, but mature adulthood finally allows us to love correctly. The early spring of my youth was misty, cold, uncertain, and full of regret. The early spring of my adulthood is mist-free, wind-warm, bright, and clear. My life was once overcast with youthful recklessness. It was her appearance, tolerance, departure, and reunion that dispersed the fog in my heart, chased away the cold years, and finally brought me the fine and clear early spring I had long awaited. For the rest of my life, I will no longer be stubborn, duplicitous, or clumsy in love. I will give her all my tenderness, patience, and unshakable preference. The regrets of youth have ended, and the completeness of adulthood has begun. Shang Jitao and I started in chilly early spring and finally meet clear sunshine. Having endured youthful separation, we now belong together for every peaceful season to come.